I remember sitting at the kitchen table of my partner's parents' house in 2013, logging on to UEFA.com to see the draw for the first round of the Europa League qualifying rounds and thinking, not Trabzonspor, anybody but Trabzonspor. But lo and behold, guess who Derry City drew? Despite the worst possible opponent and the worst possible journey, Derry City smothered a hostile crowd and a highly entertaining first leg, thanks in part to the goal scored by my guest today. I hope you're sitting comfortably, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm about to get Derry Nostalgic with Paddy Kavanagh. You became Declan Levine's first close season signing going into that year. What convinced you to move north from Dublin?
Well, the combination of Hegsy, Paul Hegarty and Decky. And then there had actually been previous interest in Derry back in 2008 under Stephen Kenny's reign. So I'd actually met Stephen back in 2008, and he'd convinced me I was on the cusp of signing a 3-year deal at Derry back then. But sure, we all know what happened there, the problems that came about towards the end of that season. So yeah, Decky and Hegsy had been in touch with me. I was playing for Shelbourne at the time, and a couple of good games against Derry, and Hegsy's like, you need to come and play for us. You fit in well in the Brandywell. And with that, I says, I give a shout at the end of the season, see where things are at, like type thing. Just jokingly type thing, but sure enough, the call came, and to be fair, he drove down the road and met me. Good conversations. Decky was actually in New York at the time, and he had been ringing me to say, look, I want you on board. I know I'm not here at the moment, I'm on holidays myself, but I'll come down the road and meet you myself. But to be fair, Hegsy had done the convincing part of it, and sort of shook hands and signed. Genuinely felt the team that I was going into play with, like Gerard Doherty in goals, big Stewie Grecian at the back, Ryan McBride was there, and Rory through the middle, Kevin Deary was still about, and Rory Patterson up top. Like, the spine of the team was unbelievable. I thought I could add to it. Patrick McElhenney was coming through, Shane McElhenney was starting to emerge as well. Like, unbelievable squad. And I suppose I definitely felt we underachieved that year. Obviously, we nicked the European spot, but we could have been so much better, I think.
Yeah, well, coming into late June, just before you call it the midway break. It never is really midway because of how the games are allocated. But the summer break, the draw is made, and the draw is made that you are going to Trabzonspor. And now it was considered the worst possible draw for the travel and opposition. But what was your initial reaction when you saw it?
Oh, it was exciting. To be fair, you do what everyone does. You go on to Google, you see what they're about, you want to YouTube. And I remember there was like, them fans, they go bananas around the 60th minute or the 64th minute. And like, I remember seeing a video of the stadium, the thing just erupted. And I was like, that's going to be unbelievable. Can't wait to play in that. Like, so then you go through the players and the quality and who's worth what. And I'm almost certain when we landed over there that, was it Malouda from Chelsea was agreed to sign? We had pulled into the hotel, and there was 2 Porsches pulled up in the letdown area. And it turns out that Malouda's agent had just walked in, and Malouda was actually on the 2nd floor already. They just going through press or bits and pieces to get their get the signing done. I think is how the receptionist had said it to us that but he won't. Malouda's here, but he won't be playing type thing. You're lucky. So yeah, the initial reaction was that hell of a journey. I remember we stopped over in Germany on the way through. I'd actually left my car keys on the plane from Ireland to Germany. We had to run to get our connecting flight, and on the way back through after playing the game, I'd seen a lost and found area, and I says, I'm going to try here to get my keys back to see if they were taken off the plane. I went into this room. Your man brought me into the room, and there was like wall to wall of like little bags of car keys. And I says, I've only got 15 minutes here. And the next thing he started going, is this your key? Is this your key? Is this your key? And next thing you know, where he pulls up, is this your key? I was like, there my keys, bang, gone. Sprinting down the terminal to get to the connecting flight. Oh, good crack.
Well, you have to love these traveling hijinks stories, like because even whenever you were right there, I heard the story about Marty McCann forgetting his passport on the way to the airport, and to get the fans to sort of. Did he get much grief for that one?
No, it wasn't too much stick, but yeah, I remember that one. All right, good crack. I'm trying to think of another story. of a good one actually. Myself and on the day of the game, myself and Gerard Doherty went out for a stroll, and we said, we'll wander down. There's a shopping centre down the road. We'll tip on down there, get a bit of ice cream. And sure, next thing we were wandering around, there was a go-kart track on top of the shopping centre. So me and Gerard were like, we go-karting. So I think it might have been 11:30, 12 o'clock that day. I'd say we're supposed to be in our rooms napping, but sure, we went out for a stroll and supposed to rest and recover. Me and Gerard I think we had a 10-lap race on the go-karts prior to the match. Good crack.
Is that who you're in with when you got over there?
No, I can't remember who I was rooming with. It might have been, was it Thomas Crawley or Mark Griffin I was rooming with? I think it was definitely one of my housemates I was rooming with anyway. But me and Gerard went go-karting on the day of the match. I don't think anybody knows about that, but sure, they do now.
They do now, and I don't think they'll care either. Going into the game too, actually, you mentioned Thomas Crowley. Left back was a big position that you were under pressure with because Thomas was injured, Dermot McCaffrey was injured, Dean Jarvis was injured, so Owen Osborne was signed before the Rovers game the Friday prior. He starts in Tala, starts in Turkey. Talk about being thrown into the deep end. And to
compound matters, he had to live with us as well, so he was thrown into our house too, so he was really thrown into the deep end. Good cook, by the way. Yeah, he was how Ozzy came in. Ozzy had talent, he was a builder, but yeah, he was thrown into the deep end. And nice little European appearance for him, to be fair.
Yeah, you mentioned Trabzonspor earlier on and the glamour of everything that they were bringing in around about the time. Decky made a big deal about it in the media, saying about their transfer expenditure, their wage bill was €1 million a week and everything. Whenever he was talking that up, was he creating a narrative that we were underdogs, or was he starting to, or did you feel kind of like, well, maybe we're putting excuses on ourselves before we start?
I don't think he was definitely taking the pressure off the team. Like, whatever team, whenever anyone's going out to play, every team inside themselves, without going out to the media, will have some kind of belief thinking, we've got a chance here. We always have a chance. Underdog story or not, you're always thinking, you see it all the time across the UK. It could be, the media always say, oh, there's 92 places between this team and that team in the leagues. But every team believes that they get a chance to nick a goal. They might actually stay in the game here. We might get something out of it type thing. And we were quietly of that belief that we could play well here. We might nick something. If we can keep the tie alive and get it back to Ireland, who knows what will happen? Like Derry's history, Gretton at PSG, all that stuff. Like, it's just, that was mute. Like, Kevin Derry was able to reminisce about his time and the bits and pieces that he'd done in Europe, and like, they're unbelievable occasions. The Brandywell rocking on the European night is something it's a special place to be involved in, to be fair. Can't take that away from us.
Yeah, leading into the Rovers game on the Friday, Declan also told the media that he was going to be trimming down the squad from 22 to 18 to travel out. Was there ever a doubt in your mind that you wouldn't be on that trip?
No. Quality do I have? No, he had spoke about registration and bits and pieces of players and how to get the best out of the squad, and he'd said, look, whatever injuries we have, and we'll have to assess them. But I'd say in his mind, he already had what he believed his starting 11, and then you're always going to have cover of a defender, an attacker, and midfielder type thing. Their goalkeeper takes up a spot there as well. So, look, they'd talked through it and say, well planned it, and they had let it be known during the coming weeks that, like, look, not everybody can be registered to play the game, but we do want everybody to travel type thing. You're part of the group, and you can tell them don't be disappointed. Everyone's going to be disappointed you miss out, but we were aware that there would be changes or there would be trimmed down. But from my own personal point of view, no, I always back myself to be involved. So I think that's why I was brought to the club as well, that there was a bit of European experience in the tank at that stage, you know.
Mm-hmm. When you arrive in Turkey, the festival of Ramadan is being observed. Before departure, did the club hold a meeting to discuss the sensitivities around the festival and how you had to conduct yourself during it?
I think there was a bit of an itinerary read through, and I think a bit of respect, certain areas and bits and pieces if you were out and about. I remember when we were getting fed that we were actually brought into a room, because obviously our eating pattern was still, we needed to be fueling up for training sessions and fueling up for the game, but we were fed in a room that was closed off from the public. So we weren't in like the restaurant area of the hotel, and that's so it was grand. We were aware of it, and look, footballers require fuel and need to get going and want to play, and that's that unbelievable respect for the fellas who carry out the Ramadan stuff and being able to go through the daylight, the sunset for not taking anything on board. It's a hell of achievement, hell of a commitment. Sorry.
Going into the second leg, Decky tried to fire up the support by talking about getting in the back of the so-called pampered stars with their top quality facilities in parts of the Brandywell. What was the Avni Acker Stadium like?
Oh, it was unbelievable, yeah. Same quality of the pitch, everything. Brandywell hadn't been redeveloped at that stage either. Like, I used to use 3 feet of height going on one side of the Brandywell and grow 10 feet the other side. But now, unbelievable facilities. Remember training the ground the night before, and the goals and all were out and set up, and great session put on. And it was just like, stroking the ball across an absolute carpet. Like, dressing rooms, facilities, all that carry on. Like, you're dealing with fellas that 30, 40 grand a week. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be changing on the side of a pitch type scenario. So yeah, it's look, I even remember the drive in, the police cordons that were there, the crowd outside the ground, everything, all that build up, that anticipation, it's just class. And going into a top facility, and look, Ireland only has, like, say, the Aviva or 1 or 2 other stadiums that maybe hold a candle, but that would hold a candle to it, like that environment as such,
Drive 105 actually had paid them a fortune for an internet connection, which we're still waiting for almost 12 years later. But thanks for that anyway, lads. I think much was made about the heat going out there, but were you relieved to see the rain during the match?
Yeah. Like, the rain was a godsend, because it was heavy. It was the humidity that was there. It's like everything. I know when you go on holidays to Spain, you get off the plane, there's that whoosh of hot air in your face, and it's like, oh, need to adjust to this. And fair, we trained at the right times around the match kickoff times. We went through our paces at that time. Marty Hegsey and Decky got that all spot on. To be fair, prepared us in the right way and the best way they could to have us ready for that game, that environment. But nothing can really prepare you for the intensity and the quality then that you're going up against. And that's probably where we'd got a couple of goals, because they maybe treated us with a bit of, not disrespect, but they would have seen us as this is light opposition for us. We should be able to cruise through this, So
just want to read you what Tony Dock, the director of Derry City, wrote in his column in the Derry Journal just after the game about the 4 goals that was conceded that night. He said many supporters will look back on the concession of a few very, very soft strikes, suggesting that the visitors could have done better. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Look, the OG is the OG. Do you know what I mean? That's that. I don't know. I'd say you'd have to talk to Gerard Doherty about it.
But when they scored early on, did they rattle you a bit?
Not really. I think there's a level of, right, I want to say, fuck it, we've nothing to lose here now. They've scored. What's the worst that can happen? Score another one. We didn't want to embarrass ourselves, but it was a case of, we've conceded now. Pressure is properly off, because everyone expected that to happen anyway. So now just go and play. And I'd say for Davy's goal, it was a case of, once again, they were giving him the respect probably that he deserved. Great goal he got. My own goal was that I just ran, made a run. Nobody didn't bother tracking me. He's like, I think it was Barry that might have played the through ball, and Barry was like, he was left time and space on the ball. And I'd say they were like, they're not going to hurt us with unbelievable quality. But yet, you give any player time and space, he's going to hurt you, I think. And that's across all leagues and all levels. So, yeah, definitely talk to Jerry about the goals, though.
Only ever on 2 occasions have I been left stunned to silence watching television. Once was Jack Boyer killing Ryan Chappelle in 24, and the second was your goal. You've described it a little bit there, but have you ever watched the highlights back and seen the reaction even from the bench whenever it hit the back of the net?
I've never watched the bench back, to be fair, and I always, like, I was only showing my nephew it the other day. He was staying with me the other day, and then we're going through, and he had it up on YouTube and that. But my own memory and recollection of it was that people have often said, oh, it's a very weak shot that crept in the near post type thing. And I was like, but I actually shot knowing that I could get it through the defender's legs to try and offside the goalkeeper. And that's generally what happened. But yeah, went to run, turn to find the Derry fans to celebrate in that direction, but also conscious that don't go back into your own half because quick kickoffs, all that carry on. So I think Barry McNamee tried to hold me from running in that direction because there's Derry fans are stuck up in the corner of the stadium. So yeah, great memory, to be fair.
If you do ever look for the goal celebration, it is on YouTube. Watch Colm O'Neill and Eugene Ferry. Colm jumps on Eugene and Eugene collapses and under the weight, and it looks like he's DDT'd him. It's quite hilarious. And then you've got somebody else just in complete shock, much like I was in the bar watching the match. But certainly look it up anyway. It's
deadly, it will, yeah.
So the next week comes, Deggy tries to hammer through the message that the tie is still alive, but did the players believe it was still alive?
To be fair, we'd scored 2 goals away from home. We were kind of going, hang on a minute, if we can keep things tight at the back here, if we only need to nick 2 goals at this stage, and if we'd gotten 1, well then where we might get a second one, then all of a sudden it's a case of we're through here in away goals. Do you know what I mean? We were in good stead, but sure, look, hopes and dreams, and once again the quality and the calibre of the opposition. I think the left back that day played. I think he moved to Sunderland a couple of weeks later on loan, possibly to the Prem. So they were they're a good outfit, to be fair. Even they didn't want us in the ground. You know the way press get 15 minutes of at the warm up stage, I think, when for sure they didn't want anyone in the ground. But myself and it was myself, Marty, and Mark Griffin maybe. We managed to make our way down to the ground and get inside, and we went up to a bit of a viewing balcony to have a look in to see what was happening in the training session. Good times, just to see if we can unearth any bits of information that might help us on the following night. But yeah, they're like the Secret Service going around saying everybody out, pull up the black curtains, the full shebang. So good times.
To pick up on an earlier comment you made about the Brandywell in the European Cup night, for Derry City fans in the European tie, even if there's little chance of us getting any progression or we are close to it, there's just a different energy. There are gatherings in the city streets, there's songs sang, Joe Doherty pulls out an imaginary harmonica and starts playing, and we all go around being really, really happy. But whilst all this is going on, is it difficult for you as a player not to get swept up in it?
It's great seeing it, and at the same time, it's even better playing and being involved in it. That's the best way I can put it. I don't think players get swept up in the occasions all that much, and it's often said like, "Oh, the occasion got to them." Sometimes players just have bad days, so like, it is great, and videos and pictures and memories. Like my folks travelled up, my pals travelled up from Dublin all for the game. It's just brilliant, like, you know. So, them occasions, them memories, I suppose, that the fans have or supporters have, like, of that stuff, it's always brilliant to hear back, like, because there's so much going on inside the ground that players never hear about or never know about at the time. It's only the stories then after they hear filtering back. It's good crack.
At 0-0, you know, on that night, Higgins and McDade are involved in a goal mouth scramble. Grecian clears one off the line before half time. But the longer it stays scoreless, with the chances being created, plus the atmosphere, was the pressure on them or Derry City?
I think the pressure was on them to get out of dodge. For us, we had a free crack at them. We're 4-2 down in a leg that, once again, they're expecting them to come do a professional job. We had a free crack. And that's the way Decky and Heggsy put it to us. He goes, look, as it stands, you're 4-2 down the tie. Go out, give the supporters something to shout about, give them that bit of hope, give yourselves a bit of hope, and just have a go. You literally got a free crack here. So you're playing in Europe. Give yourself the best chance to go and create some magic, I suppose. But never came to fruition.
Yeah, at the end they win 3-0 at the Brandywell and the adventure's over. But retrospectively, when you think about it, for 16 minutes, thanks in part to your goal, City bounced back against the odds and stifled a 25,000 people, a hostile crowd, with only about 40 City fans in attendance. Would you consider that as special? Definitely,
100%. For any Irish player to score in Europe, or for any Irish team to do give a good account of themselves in Europe. Now, we lost the tie 7-2 overall. But the 7-2 probably doesn't reflect the performances over the 2 legs. And that's, for me, I was always disappointed that we got beaten. But I thought we gave a good account of ourselves and for the league, especially, and for the people of Derry, because they're so proud of the club and everything that's involved with the club. It's a special place to be. Like I said, Brandywell on European night is magical. Like,
last question. There was a book called God versus Mortals. It was all about European ties of Irish teams. If there was to be a sequel, how would you like the narrative of the tie to be written?
it's like Dave versus Goliath, isn't it? That kind of scenario. You're always going to get a chance. Something might happen. Give you that bit of that moment of magic. Might see a win through on the day. Tough one though. No, I've no real narrative on that.
Well, Paddy, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me. It's great going back to a game that it probably isn't talked about often enough, but as we talk about that idea of God versus mortals and David and Goliath, it really was a special moment.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Thanks very much.
And a big thank you to you for watching this video as well. Make sure you check out all our other Derry Nostalgic interviews, including those with the European theme, as we go through the Europa Conference League in 2024. We'll be back with Match Night live on the next Match Night, so make sure you join us on FM, DAB and online, and make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel to keep up to date with everything that we are doing outside of our broadcasts. My name is Dee Kern. Have a good day or have a good night. Either way, I'll see you next time.